The Last Airbender stands out as one of Nickelodeon's most critically acclaimed shows, becoming the highest-rated animated television series at the time of its premiere. Running from 2005 to 2008, the show's writing and production have stood the test of time, resulting in a live-action movie in 2010 and a highly anticipated live-action reboot that is currently in production. The Avatar's destiny is to save the world and restore peace through vigorous training and self-discipline. All you have to do to reach your destiny is to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on our next great adventure. It's time to head to the South Pole, so sit back, relax, and put on a sweater because it's about to get chilly. The series begins with the boy in the iceberg. While Sokka and Katara are out fishing, Katara practices her very weak waterbending abilities to an unimpressed Sokka.
It's water bending, and it's...
Yeah, an ancient art unique to our culture, blah, blah, blah.
Suddenly, they get caught in a strong current, and they try their best to get out safely. However, their small fishing boat is crushed by large chunks of ice, and they begin arguing and blaming each other. As Katara becomes more and more upset, her emotions cause the water around her to become turbulent and break a giant glacier. A large iceberg emerges, revealing a small figure and a giant animal trapped in the middle. Katara attempts to free them, and the iceberg cracks and opens, shooting a powerful beam of light into the sky, which is seen by Zuko, the prince of the Fire Nation, who has been searching for the Avatar, and his gentle uncle Iroh.
Why don't you enjoy a cup of calming jasmine tea?
Zuko demands their boat set course to the source of the light, determined to finally catch his prey and regain his honor. Meanwhile, the disoriented child from the iceberg introduces himself as Aang, and his giant flying bison as Appa.
This is Appa, my flying bison.
Right, and this is Katara, my flying sister.
And Katara quickly realizes that Aang is an airbender. He offers to take Katara and Sokka home since they have no boat, and Katara excitedly agrees.
Why are you smiling at me like that?
I was smiling?
After they leave, the Fire Nation boat arrives at the empty scene, and Zuko remains determined to find him. As the group is headed back to the Water Tribe, Katara asks Aang if he knew the Avatar who has been missing for 100 years. Aang replies that he never knew him personally, but he knew people who did. He falls asleep and has a vivid dream of him and Appa becoming trapped in the iceberg. He wakes up suddenly to Katara explaining that they're in the Ice Tribe's village, and urges him to wake up so that she can introduce him. When Aang questions why everyone is looking at him strangely, Katara's grandmother, Gran, explains that airbenders have been extinct for about 100 years. Katara explains her excitement in finding another bender to her grandmother, relaying her hopes that Aang could possibly teach her how to become a waterbender.
I sense he's filled with much wisdom. See?
Zuko continues his search while practicing fighting drills over and over to confront the Avatar, convinced that someone who has 100 years of training would be a strong opponent. Aang's childish nature and attitude rub Sokka the wrong way, causing him to become slightly resentful of Aang. Sokka exclaims that there is no time for fun and games during the war, and Katara approaches Aang and asks for his help in learning how to become a waterbender. Aang reveals he doesn't know how, but suggests going to the North Pole to find the other water tribe, and offers his help to get her there to find a master.
I haven't done this since I was a kid. You still are a kid.
While Katara thinks on the offer, the two explore and stumble upon an abandoned Fire Navy ship that was left from a conflict between the Fire Nation and the Water Tribe that is forbidden to go into. Aang urges Katara to explore it with him, and she begrudgingly accepts. While they're looking around, Katara explains about the Fire Nation's attacks, and they realize that Aang must have been trapped in the iceberg for at least 100 years, since he has no knowledge of the ongoing war, the extinction of the airbenders, or anything after it.
What? That's impossible. Do I look like a 112-year-old man to you?
As they go to leave the ship, they trigger a booby trap that sets off a flare from the ship into the sky. They escape the ship, but not without being seen by Zuko, who now sees what Aang looks like, and that he's staying with the Water Tribe, thus beginning the greatest game of cat and mouse the world has ever seen.
Wake my uncle! Tell him I found the Avatar.
Next is the Avatar Returns. Katara and Aang return from exploring and are greeted by an angry Sokka and Water Tribe. Sokka, convinced Aang is working with the Fire Nation, accuses him of being a traitor and purposefully signaling the Fire Nation, and banishes him from the Water Tribe.
We can't fight firebenders with fun.
You should try it sometime.
Get out of our village!
Katara tries to object, but Gran agrees that Aang should leave, and chastises Katara for going on the ship, even though she knew it was forbidden. Aang agrees to leave, and Katara sadly watches as her one chance of learning waterbending walks away.
Wow. I haven't cleaned my room in 100 years. Not looking forward to that.
As Aang and Appa hide out nearby, they see a Fire Nation ship approaching the Water Tribe. The tribe tries to get everyone to safety as the Fire Navy descends on their land. Zuko and his lackeys appear, demanding the tribe reveal the man that they're hiding. Sokka tries to fight Zuko, but it becomes apparent that he's obviously outmatched. Aang swoops in to save Sokka and battle the Fire Navy. Zuko voices his confusion on Aang's age and his abilities, stating that the Avatar is the master of all the elements. Sokka and Katara realize that maybe Aang is the missing Avatar after all. Aang begins to fight, but quickly stops and makes an agreement with Zuko that he'll come to the Fire Nation if they leave the people of the Water Tribe alone. They agree, and they take Aang hostage on the ship. After Aang is gone, Katara sternly demands Sokka that they must save him, and Sokka surprisingly agrees. Gran supports their journey, thanking them for finding the Avatar and giving her hope again. Meanwhile, on the Fire Navy ship, Aang begins to fight for his escape. Katara and Sokka try to get Appa to fly, but nothing they say seems to work. After saying random words, Sokka finally says the magic phrase yip yip, and they begin to fly through the air.
He's flying! Katara, he's...
Aang continues to beat most of the Fire Navy's men, but comes face to face in a battle with Zuko. He manages to retrieve his staff and nearly escape the ship, but Zuko manages to drag him back down on the deck. They both spot Appa flying overhead, and Aang tries to get to him, but is pushed overboard by Zuko. In the water, Aang's eyes and arrows begin to glow, and he suddenly starts waterbending and fighting with a ferocity unlike anything he had before. After taking down everyone on the ship, he flops to the ground, and Katara and Sokka swoop down to save them. As they fly away, Zuko and Iroh try to shoot them down with fire, but Aang counters it with a strong gust of wind and sends the fire crashing into the glacial wall and causing it to crumble onto the Fire Navy's ship. As the group flies away, Katara asks why Aang never told him that he's the Avatar, and he reveals that he never wanted to be something that was forced on him. Katara urges him of his importance and how he can finally put a stop to the war by learning how to master all of the elements. Realizing he must learn waterbending first, they head to the North Pole so they can learn together. And Sokka is just happy that he can possibly use his warrior skills to fight some Fire Nation people.
Here, we'll ride the hopping llamas. Then way over here, we'll surf on the backs of giant koi fish.
Next up is the Southern Air Temple. Before heading to the North Pole, Aang takes the gang to visit his childhood home, the Southern Air Temple.
Sokka, wake up! There's a prickle snake in your sleeping bag!
Meanwhile, Zuko attempts to repair his ship as quickly as possible so he doesn't lose the Avatar's location. They pull into a harbor owned by Captain Zhao, a fiercely loyal Fire Nation captain, who inquires about their ship's damage. In order to prevent word of the Avatar being back from spreading, Zuko and Iroh lie about what caused the damage.